I am an unabashed and unashamed nerd. I love all things comic books, sci-fi, fantasy. I watch all the movies, I watch all the TV shows, I read all the books. And one of the things I like most about this idea of fantasy and sci-fi is the worlds that the authors create. They create detailed worlds that we can get into. They create languages, cultures, creatures. They create new ways of science working, new magic, and all these different things. And they add all these little details, which don't always even affect the story, but they make the world more real. It allows you to really get into those worlds. And for me, I just love that. So it's probably not surprising then that one of my favorite visions of God, favorite way of thinking about God, is as the divine author. If we look at all of creation, all of reality, as God trying to tell one great story, and each and every one of us is a participant in that story, I think it really helps us understand a lot of things about God and why reality is the way it is. You know, the universe can be intimidating. We seem so insignificant on the grand scale of things. We are each one of 7 billion people on this planet, on a massive planet where we haven't even climbed every mountain or gone to the bottom of the sea. We live in a planet and yet that planet, which is so large to us, is just a speck in the solar system, circling around a sun that is thousands of times larger than it. And that solar system is just a speck compared to the galaxy in which it's in. And then you could take it one level out. That galaxy is nothing compared to the vastness of the entire universe. You can take this in the opposite direction. Each and every one of us is made up of billions of cells, each one a world unto itself. Then you can take that even farther down to the atomic and subatomic level, to the protons, neutrons, and electrons that make up all of reality, make up all matter. We can even take this through time. We sit on the very end of time that has been going on for billions of years. In the light of all of that, it seems insignificant, each and every one of us. All of humanity seems just like a speck floating in the universe. But if we think about God as author, it kind of falls into place. Of course, if God is the divine author, He wants to give the greatest setting for His story that He can possibly make. So of course He creates the laws of science that we discover. He creates a vast universe for us to explore. He creates a massive history for us to look back to. He gives us the greatest backstory, filled with Big Bang, filled with dinosaurs, filled with so much history that has culminated to this point here. In the vision of that, the universe, instead of seeming like a daunting place, seems like a place of wonder, created for us, created for God to tell His great story. I think another way that this idea of divine authorship comes in handy is that another one of those things that can kind of be problematic is God's omnipotence and divine providence. If God knows the beginning and the end of the story, it seems like our individual choices mean less. But if we think about it as a story, think about it as a book. God has all of reality and it's a book to Him. He can see the first page and the last page. But that doesn't mean we, individuals, on our page, can't write our own story. That we don't get to choose how we go from one page to the next. In fact, it's even more wondrous if we think the fact that God loves us so much, He allows us the gift of free will so that we get to write the story with Him. We get to choose what we are in the story. We get to choose whether we're going to be the heroes or the villains. The beautiful thing about this, too, is that the climax of this story is already done. We have the climax in the cross. That is the climax of the entire story. We are in the falling action. We get to see the story at its high point and at its best. So for us, this becomes an opportunity. It becomes an opportunity for us to have that choice to either align ourselves to God's will and go along with the story, to be the hero of our own story, or to reject it. And the most wonderful thing of all, at least for me, is at the end, when our own personal story is done, when we die, when we move out of the story, we get to go and be with God. And we get to see the entire story from beginning to end. And He gets to show us His divine plan for all of reality. For me, no better author could do anything than that.